Welcome to the Underground, the Steel City Underground, the black and gold standard for Pittsburgh Steelers coverage. Now, here's your host, Joe Kuzma and Brian E. Roach.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Steel City Underground podcast. My name is Joe Kuzma, joined here by my good colleague and pal of one, mad scientist, Mr. Brian E. Roach. And Mr. Brian, it's that time, my friend, that time of the year where we go insane. It's time for
insanity.
Well, there was some insanity that actually did not transpire. We were waiting, sort of, kind of, because I was also on vacation. So if we
it certainly hasn't transpired as of now. Yes.
No, the big night out did not end up being the Aaron Rodgers coming out party that everyone predicted it would be. So we're still in the Steelers. We're in the draft limbo right here. We're in that area that Brian doesn't like me to say the word, but it rhymes with ain't. And it's between certain areas of your private area.
Gross.
So that's the area we're in right now in the NFL season.
Stop it.
Hey,
no more talking about that.
Mr. Rodgers, not Fred, Aaron, did not come to the Steel City. And in the meantime, you got Shedeur Sanders making a visit to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Among other notables, the 30 pre-draft visits. Some people call them top 30. It's not really top 30. They're only allowed 30. Every team has 30, and then you have the local ones that don't count. Pitt, a lot of Pitt players coming, including a place kicker, probably to run through rookie camp, I would imagine, because Boswell's spot is safe. But as we go through, well, first of all, let's talk about some of the pre-draft visitors. Then we're going to go into your setup, because if we have any viewers or listeners that have not been here for this before, basically what Brian does is he recreates the movie Draft Day from his chair right there, pretending he is Kevin Costner, but albeit with a much better franchise, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Although, Brian, the Browns now get those All-American Conference whatever football championships have now been officially recognized or whatever by the NFL, and it's like, oh well, they got 4 championships from a defunct league that they were the only team that maybe survived, maybe 2. Were the 49ers part of that too? Maybe. I'll have to go back and look. But
does it really count though? Aren't those the Ravens titles now at this point?
Yeah,
don't those titles belong to the Ravens as opposed to the Browns? I don't know.
Well,
not to rub salt into the Browns' wounds.
We would never do that. But just to point out what our setup is here, this will be preposterous. This is very unrealistic for the most part, though Brian got the simulator to reflect this, on occasion. So we've got it all set up and ready to go here. The pre-draft visitors, the Steelers are all over the place. I have no idea what they're going to do in the first round. Brian's going to do it all, so it don't matter. But
it doesn't matter.
Of in no particular order, 4 wide receivers: Jalen Noel from Iowa State, Savion Williams, TCU, Jaden Higgins, Iowa State, a hot name that's out there. No pre-draft visit for Emeka Buka. I don't think I've seen that one on the wire yet. But Matthew Golden from Texas, another one. These guys could be like first rounders. Steelers don't have a second round pick. Brian will solve that problem soon. Yet. 6 defensive linemen. So this is why it's like all over the place. All right. JJ Pegues, Ole Miss. Yaya Black from Iowa, Josh Farmer, Florida State. That's one to keep your eyes on. Elijah Roberts, SMU, Jamari Caldwell from Oregon, and also Derek Harmon, another one to keep your eye on from Oregon. He was just here a day or two ago, along with a running back that most of us have our eyes on out there from North Carolina, Omarion Hampton. A lot of people mocking the Steelers to take Omarion to replace Najee Harris. 8 running backs have made the visit to Pittsburgh. DJ Giddens, Kansas State. Dylan Sampson, Tennessee. Bashal Tootin, Virginia Tech. I need a pronunciation guide. I really do. I wish we had one of those out there, but a lot of the college players, I can't watch everything, Ollie Gordon, Oklahoma State. Jaden Blue, Texas. Caleb Johnson, Iowa. And RJ Harvey from University of Central Florida. They round out that group with Hampton. 3 quarterbacks: Shedeur Sanders from Colorado, just visited Tyler Show from Louisville and Jackson Dart from Ole Miss. Looks like those guys possible first rounders or maybe somebody that goes in the top 50. Tyler Show, man, he's making the rounds a lot too. I think he's had like something like 10 different teams he's visited with. So the Browns and Steelers looking at a lot of the same guys in this due diligence. Maybe they're playing cat and mouse with these players, but 3 quarterbacks, but 8 running backs, 6 linemen, 4 receivers so far. And then we've got 2 corners, Azare Thomas from Florida State and Trey Amos from Ole Miss. And those would be some guys that they're probably looking at a little higher in the draft too. Nick Amenwari from South Carolina. Shamar Stewart, Texas A&M as an edge rusher. And then there's a number of local visitors from West Virginia, offensive lineman Wyatt Millam, Gavin Bartholomew, tight end from Pitt, Donovan McMillan, safety from Pitt, and then Ben Sauls, the kicker from Pitt. So they don't count towards the top 30, but it gives you kind of an idea of where the Steelers feel their needs are. Usually you can read the tea leaves and figure out what they're going to do. Right now, it's not as, there was like a slam dunk years ago when it could be, Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis, Najee Harris, almost like slam dunk. This is Devin Bush. If they trade up, this is the guy they're going to go get. Bud Dupree. And then we get surprised sometimes. Artie Burns, Terrell Edmonds. And those are the ones where sometimes when you're surprised, that it doesn't turn out the way that you expect it to. So without further ado, Brian, I'm going to kick it over to you, my friend, because you're going to load up the Steelers with your virtual general manager position over there. You're going to load them up for the foreseeable future, so they have a number of expiring rookie contracts headed into the future, but they will have more picks. I don't even know where to go with this. This thing's always crazy every year. So explain yourself. Explain yourself.
All right. Go watch Draft Day and just pretend Kevin Costner is now in Pittsburgh. And then, that's the thing. My little note is not going to be a player note. It's going to say no quarterback in the first round, no matter what. That's what it's going to say. All right. And the reason being is I plan on taking a quarterback next year in the first round, and I will make myself in the position where I can do anything I want next year. Okay. So here is the scenario. The scenario is as follows. And again, it's all baloney. It's all based. Part of this is just our natural tendency to mock the mock drafts. Well, this is me mocking the mock draft generator, right? Because I got the generator to do all these things legitimately. Now, can I do it consistently? No. But I can get it to do what I want it to do without actually hacking the generator and forcing it to do things. So these are all things that the generator at one point or not thought were legitimate things that could happen. So, okay. The first one, which is always the most preposterous, right? Always, is we're going to trade the entire 2026 draft set of picks to jump up in the draft. Now, I tried to trade with Tennessee. That was the first thing I did. I couldn't get it to work. All right. So I didn't trade with Tennessee. And that's usually what I do. Go all the way up to number 1 and then fall back down. So instead I picked on Cleveland and I took the number 2 pick. And that did work. So we get Cleveland basically bails out of the first 2 rounds in the 2025 draft, gives us pick 2 and pick 33, and they get all of our picks for 2026. Thinking, okay, we're going to go into Pittsburgh when the draft's in Pittsburgh and just make a show of it. Ha ha, little do they know. Okay. After we do that, we trade George Pickens to the Patriots, and we get their 2nd round pick and a 3rd round pick in 2026. I'd take that deal in a million years, every time. Okay. Then we start the draft. And when we start the draft, the Patriots offer to trade to go up to number 2. They give us the 4th pick in the draft, number 69, their 1st, their 2nd, their 4th, and their 5th in 2026, and their 1st and 2nd in 2027, all to move up to 4. Yes, it's preposterous. It's ridiculous. It would never happen. But the simulator thought it could, so it did. All right, now we are sitting at 4, and now we're going to trade with Las Vegas. We get their 6th round pick and their 37th pick, and we get 1, 2, and 3 in 2026 and 2 in 2027. Okay, are we done yet? No, we're not done yet. We're now going to trade with Chicago. We're going to drop down to 10. The rules are, by the way, I can't actually start making picks until we get back out of the top 10. Because we started in the second tier, I have to get out of the top 10 before I can actually start making picks. Okay, so we trade with Chicago. We move back to 10. We get their 39 pick. We also get their first, second, fifth, and sixth next year. Okay. We're going to now trade with Atlanta. We're going to move back to 15, which is where we're going to actually start drafting. So we trade our 10 spot to Atlanta. We get 15, 46, 1, 2, and 4 in 2026, and 3 in 2027. We are now in the scenario that the draft simulator approved and thought was a realistic scenario and are ready to start drafting. And here's what we've got. We have, can you show it, Joe?
Yeah, I'm going to bring it up. That's what I was going to say. And we got it about as close to the situation. I think there was only one pick that was off that we swapped somewhere around it. But
somewhere along it.
This on the right here. Your team, the Steelers, 2025. We've got 15,
21, 33, 37, 38, 39, right? Yep. 46, 69, nice.
Nice, yes. 83, 123.
123, 156, 185. I forgot we also traded our 7th round pick to Cleveland as a part of the
Yeah. So, and then
more importantly,
yes,
we have 4 first round picks in 2026. 4 second round picks in 2026. We have 3 third round, or 2 third rounds, or 3 third rounds. I don't remember. We have a bunch of thirds. We have fourths. We have fifths. We have 6th, and we have the comp picks.
Yeah, I mean,
if that wasn't good enough.
For Pittsburgh hosting the draft next year, they would be on the clock. We need the maths.
A lot.
Oh my goodness, is it ever a lot? We need the maths graphic. Oh, I don't have it. I only have yours. We'll do it with you. So we got to count these. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12, 15. 15 draft
15 picks.
15, yeah. 15 picks without the 4 comps they're probably going to get.
That's before comps. So we get 4 comps or 3 comps. We could have as many as 18, 19, maybe even, who knows, by the end of this, 20 draft picks next year. That's crazy. You know what that is? You know what that is? That's insanity.
I kind of like that. It's like, no, for real though, like joking around with the insanity. Now we get to see, and we get to talk about a lot more players. We're not going to just shoehorn ourselves. We gravitate towards some of the visitors. The players they interview, the interviews aren't as big. The dinners we've been thrown off with in the past as well. So we're going to start draft on this sucker in a second. But I think I wanted to pick your brain on the idea of having four first round picks next year.
Yes.
I think is around the idea that either the teams that the Steelers would have the picks for in this scenario, they all have a pretty good shot of having the number 1 pick. I mean, what if the Bears stink again, the Patriots, the Raiders, especially those two?
There's a reason we trade with those teams, right?
Yeah.
Is we expect those to be high value picks. To be honest, I expect all 4 of those first round picks to be better than the pick we traded to Cleveland.
Okay, fair enough. And that's to go get Arch Manning wherever he's playing next year, maybe, or everybody wants it. Yeah, it's whoever. I'm not crowning him necessarily. We've seen it where juniors or underclassmen come back in college football. They return for a year. They're not quite there yet, right? And you're like, but these are the guys to watch. This is going to be and then they stink, even in their final year, and they fall out of being a potential first, second round
pick,
even first 2 days kind of pick. So you just never know. So
here's the other thing though to remember: we also have 4 first round picks now in 2027 because we gained an additional. Well, maybe it's
2.
We have 3. We have 3 first round picks in 2027 because we gained 2 more. Which means, by the way, when Jeremiah Smith comes out in 2027, we'll be able to go get him. So, there you go. Planning ahead.
Yeah, because you're going to make him the first. We talked about this on the last show, I think. They would make him the first number 1 overall wide receiver since maybe Keyshawn Johnson. I don't know. You never know. Maybe Tennessee goes after Travis Hunter instead, and he'll just play everywhere. Anyways, we ready to We ready to
So
hit,
we're ready.
start the
We're
insanity?
ready for the insanity to begin.
All right.
Live as
Here
we
we
go.
go.
So we're going to start the draft.
And our settings are, we've got turbo here. We've got a whole bunch of things set just in the middle. If you use this Pro Football Focus draft simulator yourselves at home. And we had all this. We did force the trades to make them happen. But I believe Brian. He would do something crazy and get it to work. So let's see.
Here we are at 15.
We want to see who's gone so far. I always like to see that first.
Sure you
so
can.
Will Campbell first overall. See, it's not even Cam Ward. That's crazy. Abdul Carter, yeah. Jade Barron, Mason Graham, Ashton Genty, Travis Hunter, 6'2". Ooh, that's interesting. Cam Ward then to the Jets. Tyler Warren, tight end. Tight end out of Penn State, man. I don't know. Like going that high.
At 8.
Yeah. I know. Pro Football Focus is so high. I understand he's probably gonna be a good one, but McMillan, he's all over the place as a wide receiver too. A lot of people have him going to Tampa Bay a little bit later. Let's see. I just jumped a little bit. Kenneth Grant, the Falcons, Armand Membo, Jihad Camel, Walter Nolan, Malachi Stark. So here we go. Brian.
All right. So I'm not going to go down too far, right? But I mean, we're not going to draft Mike Green. We're not going to draft an edge rusher. We could draft Luther Burden. We could draft a wide receiver. Forget the edge rusher. I'm skipping Will Johnson for the now. Keep going. We've got 2 tackles. We're not drafting another tackle. There's a Mecca. We could draft a Mecca. Mm-hmm. Matthew Golden, who's had a visit, is there. So you see, we got a lot of options. And here's the thing: we're going to pick again in 6 more picks. So we have this is the freebie one, right? This is the one we could just do whatever we want to with it because we're still going to hit on our pick that we get at 21. Okay, I'm looking at that list, and my instinct is I've traded Pickens, right? I think I need to replace. I'm going to have opportunities, but the wide receiver draft class is not as deep as it has been in years past in this year. The running back class is deeper. I'm not drafting a quarterback. Guaranteed, I'm not drafting a quarterback.
Okay.
You didn't see one in there, but I'm not drafting one. I'm going to draft Luther Burden III.
Ooh, okay. Let me go find him in the list. Here we go. From Missouri. The Pittsburgh Steelers are on the clock. Do we have to do all the pomp and circumstances? With
Pittsburgh Steelers are on the clock.
With the 15th pick.
15th pick. They draft Luther Burden from Missouri.
Here to announce Commissioner Roger Goodell. Boo.
Boo.
Okay, all right. Boo.
Okay,
We're not booing.
Luther Burden. So we draft Luther Burden. Now we're going to keep going.
Okay,
right,
so
we're on the clock. Steelers are on the clock.
And there you go. Shamar Stewart off the board. Gray Zabel, Mecca Buka, Will Johnson. I'll tell you what, Will Johnson kind of intrigues me too as a corner.
I was very close to doing Will Johnson.
I'll tell you, I really
picking Will Johnson.
We'll see. And then Mike Green.
I'm not going to do Will Johnson under any of circumstances.
Nothing against the Thundering Herd, but I'm not looking for an edge rusher or Mike Green.
I don't need an edge rusher right now, so I'm not going to. All right.
Okay.
I can tell you what I'm going to do right here. So my thought process is go down just a couple more. There you go. Stop right there. It's either between the guy who's sitting at 21, Matthew Golden, which is double dipping at receiver, or a Marion Hampton who has visited the Steelers. That's the 2 choices that I have here. The question is, do I think Omarion Hampton is going to drift to the 2nd round where we have the 33rd pick, right? Do I think he's going to be available at 33? I don't. So I'm going to take Omarion Hampton and solve my running back problem.
Well, and since we're putting on that virtual GM cap, let's see who is behind the Steelers picking. I mean, the Chargers. I mean, you could make a case for some of these teams. Maybe not the Packers because they've got Jacobs. I know Aaron Jones went back to the Vikings. Mixon's a little older with the Texans. Like all these teams, the Rams, they could certainly use running back help. Derrick Henry's in his 30s. Can you imagine Hampton going to the Ravens? It would be such a Baltimore move to make that pick, would it not?
Yes. Absolutely.
I mean, and the Lions they've double dipped with running backs in their backfield. Commanders. I'm trying to think who the Commanders
And
got in
let's
their
let's
backfield.
be
Why am I
clear.
drawing a blank?
I may double dip at running back
Okay.
before the end of this draft. It's possible.
Well, absolutely, with the amount of depth, but just to get back to what 33, which is at the top of the second round. Buffalo Bills have James Cook. Then you got KC, who they've got some interesting players. The Eagles, obviously, with Saquon, I don't know that they would go that way. And
Probably not.
The first time you did this too, I said, "Man, that's a lot of Buckeyes." Oh, you thought we were homers.
I did Emeka Ibuka, and I think I drafted both Quinshon Junkins and Travion Henderson. I drafted Will Howard much later in the draft.
yeah, and I mean,
a lot of Buckeyes.
I know, and it's like you thought we were homers already with the Steelers. But at least Ohio State was national champions, and you could use the Eagles as a what do you want to say, a blueprint or whatever, a model
championship.
Yeah, with
players.
all the Georgia players that they took. So we're not too far off our rocker, but let's get Hampton on the books here at 21. They're going to grade us terribly because they got him ranked 24. That automatically gives us like a D for the draft. But
guarantee you, they will definitely grade that pick poorly simply because it's a running back in the first round.
yeah. And you know what? I don't know what to think about that, but Genty and Hampton, I think they both have solid cases. Is it a running back renaissance here with the NFL? Some of the free agency and stuff like that. And by the way, I was saying like Hampton, imagine he went to the Chargers and pairs with Najee. So that would be, Najee's just a 1-year deal out there, wasn't he? Like up to 9 with incentives. But up to 9 with incentives. So you never know. And that would be something that Harbaugh would do.
Yeah. Hey, so I'll go with both names. It works.
Yeah. Okay. We are back, top of the second. Matthew Golden just went in between our picks here. Derek Harmon's gone too. So is Trey Amos. So a couple of players here. Josh Simmons, Ohio State.
Did Walter Nolan already go? Did he go high?
I'm gonna have to. I don't want to scroll around too much. What we could actually do is. Yeah, it appears he's already gone. Yeah, pick 13 to right there on the screen to the Miami Dolphins.
That's pretty high. That's too high for him.
Yeah, well, and you had the randomness kind of in the middle, so.
Yes.
So here we go. And I don't know if we want to go any position specific here, but.
There's a good chance I may take Darius Alexander here, but let's look and see what we got down there.
Okay.
So in this group of picks. So we got a cornerback from Notre Dame. There's another D lineman, TJ Sanders, Jaden Higgins, who I think you said Jaden Higgins has visited.
Yes, he has. And we still got picks 37, 38, and 39 following up. And can he make it past, I don't know, Giants, Titans, Jaguars? I don't know. I kind of see that he might go because he might be the top. Yeah, he's the top wide receiver. Nope.
Alec Ayamor.
Ayamanor. Yeah. He's still hanging around there too. So
I am gonna take. Well, you know what? Let's move up a little bit. Go back up to the top. I am gonna take. I want to see the measurables. Click on the little button on Darius Alexander's name there.
Darius. Whoop. Wrong guy. All right.
I don't care about him.
Yeah, you didn't care about him. So the Pro Football Focus Wizards.
I like that 90.3 run defense grade. Give me a look at first look so I can see his size.
Okay, we got a pretty big guy here. 6'4", 310. Yes. So I believe he was also
it's a little old. I don't like that.
Yeah. So and now we're looking, this is part of the deal here too, is that you're looking for defensive linemen. And I think we got a little rocked here as we went a little earlier, but I still don't think Hampton's there. And you need offensive help. And Brian's going to roll with the quarterback next year. So we're trying to get everybody in the league ahead of time to just, shore everything up with talent right now.
What's that second D lineman who was in that list?
Okay, so let me actually, I'm going to pull up interior defensive lineman TJ Sanders from South Carolina. And you could always go Ohio State. And then you kind of start to fall into some third-round guys.
You're not going that far down. It's it's one of those three, I think, for me at this point. And I'm going to look. I know Farmer's visited, right?
Yeah, he's a guy they're looking at, and that's probably because in reality they're hoping they could snag him with that like 75-ish pick or whatever that they got in the third round. So
what's the age on TJ Sanders?
TJ Sanders. He's only been able to drink for half a year. Yeah,
I like that. 6'4". He's a little light. I don't like that.
Yeah, 290. I mean, it depends if you want him to play some defensive tackle in a 3-4, trying to use him as a nose tackle. Or are you trying to flip him with like Keanu Benton and Cam Hayward?
All right, I got a plan. We're taking that guy.
Okay.
There's a reason. You're going to see. I got a plan.
All right.
We're taking that guy.
Brian has the plan. His plan
Sanders.
was foiled. His other plans were foiled. I know who some of the picks were, but now we're right back on the clock.
All right. We're right back on the clock. We have 37 and 38 and 39, right?
Yes.
So we've got 3 picks in a row. Nobody wants to trade with us right now, which is fine. I'm not going to play around. We're going to take Jaden Higgins here. And the reason is because I don't have to worry about somebody else drafting after us. I'll worry about it when we get to 39. At 38, I'm taking Tyleek Williams.
Okay. There you go.
All right. I've now double dipped at defensive line. I've double dipped with high quality wide receivers, and I've got DK Metcalf. So I feel like my wide receiver room is complete. I feel like I've got enough reserves now in the D line. I'm feeling pretty solid. Okay, let's go back.
Okay. Let's take a look and see. Boom. Here we go.
All right. So I could take Kevin Winston. I could take a safety. I know they've been looking at safeties. I could take Benjamin Morrison, a cornerback. Could take Xavier Watts, another safety. I think I am going to go and take. Look, there's old Shador.
I know. I'm not
taking him.
So it's funny seeing where PFF has I think Cam Ward is barely like a first rounder where they have him ranked. They might have him like 24th overall on the big board.
Yeah.
They do not like the quarterbacks this year.
And while it pains me to say this, I agree with him. All right. Let's go up and take that top safety. We're going to take Kevin Winston Jr.
We're going to take a look at Kevin Winston real quick.
Yeah.
And, a little bit of they downgraded him, but he plays all over the place. He plays box. He plays deep. He covers he could play in the slot. So he's got he was banged up a little bit, I think, this year too.
But,
yeah, torn ACL.
He's a junior, so he's younger.
Yeah, so they can afford. He's 6'2", 208, and he's somebody they can maybe afford to kick the tires on with. When you got all of these picks, and you've already got Deshaun Elliott, and you've got Minka Fitzpatrick, so let's take this guy and. Boom.
We'll be
there you
very
go.
quickly back on the shot of the clock at 46.
And there it is. And Shador goes one pick ahead.
So sad. Too bad.
Look at that room. It's the Indianapolis Colts with Daniel Jones, Anthony Richardson, and Shador Sanders. Woo! That's interesting.
Interesting room.
It will be an interesting room. So Cam Scatterbo ends up going that could be an interesting pick to the 49ers there. I like playing like some of these games here, right? So that's fun. That's a fun pick. I like that, especially with the way McCaffrey's been kind of banged up over the last few years. So that could be an interesting one. And we got a bunch of Ohio State guys middling around here, as you will. There are going to be several of them in the top 100. This Carson Schweisinger is an interesting player that's still on the board too, Brian. You've got your guy Travion Henderson. I know you're probably looking at. So you've got 46, you've got 69, and we've got Schweisinger ranked 54 with an ADP of 55, and Henderson at 58 with an ADP of 57, which that means for anybody who's for layman's terms, they should be gone before pick 69 on average. They're being drafted higher than that. So if we were looking at these positions, the double dip at a running back, this is still second round. So I don't know if you want to do that. If you want to add, what are you thinking?
Here's what I want to do. Somebody wants to trade. Click on the little trade button. We have one offer coming, and I want to see what it is.
Okay.
I want to see who wants to trade with. So Jacksonville wants to move up. And here's where we've already drafted 6 guys, right? And we're only at pick 46. We've filled out our D-line. We've filled out our wide receiver. We got a running back. We've got a safety. What do they think our needs were again? Quarterback, running back, tackle. For some reason, they think our need is a tackle. Even though we have two, they just maybe don't like our tackles. But we have tackle on our need, and then safety. Okay, let's see whether we can fleece the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Like everybody else, why not? What else can
we're
we
going to
get?
give it a shot. We'll see. They may not. Want to play. So we will offer them 46. Because I like drafting immediately after we draft. We'll try and see if we can get 70 from them, since we have 69. Right now, they love this trade, but that's because I'm not done. Let's see if we can get a second rounder next year.
Okay. 44% they feel.
It's dropped down. And I think that, again, it's a good chance that they could have that round 2 pick could be a pretty good pick. Also, let's go with because I like to push it. Let's go with the 4th rounder in 2027.
2027. 14% chance.
14%. Let's offer the trade.
Okay.
Oh, they didn't like it. All right.
Man.
Take out the 4th rounder, and make it a 5th rounder in 2027.
All right.
This is what I do. I just keep plinging around and seeing what is the best deal I can get.
Does Jacksonville even have a GM still? I don't even know. Did they ever hire anyone?
I have no idea.
Okay, you want the 5th rounder still.
Yep.
We've doubled our odds here from 14 to 28%.
There you go. That's what it is. 14 times 2 is 28.
We're going to
offer the trade.
Offer the trade.
Still don't like us.
No.
All right. All right. Let's say, I don't really want a 5th and a 6th and a 7th round pick. So let's just take the 5th off the board and go with this 2. This is the one that was at 44%, I think.
Yes,
let's just go with the 2 next year. And this is our last chance with them, right? This is me calling them and saying, this is it, take it or leave it. I'll take your 2nd and the 70th pick.
Boom.
And that's it.
They did not want it.
They don't want it. All right. Well, then we don't want to trade with you. We're going to pick. Screw you.
All right. We're drafting a player. So.
All right. We're going to draft a player. We tried. But we're drafting a player.
Okay. Let's see what we got. There is a tackle still on the board.
There is. Josh Conley Jr. tackle, who's
some defensive backs.
30 pick. Defensive backs, 37 and 40. We got another cornerback.
By the way,
Tyler Burger.
In reality, we would have run out of time already.
Yes. Go down. Just keep going down until you see a little bit of that scarlet and gray coming up. Keep a little. All right. Now, stop. There's a good chance I might take Tyler Booker.
Okay.
I think he's probably the best guard in the draft. And so there's a good chance I might take Tyler Booker. The question really is, I want Travion Henderson. I've made no bones about the fact I want Travion Henderson. Do I think Travion Henderson will make it to 69? The answer is I don't. But I know Booker's not making it to 69.
Yeah.
So am I comfortable with the offensive line group that we have right now? Do I feel like Mason can grow in year 2 and become a better guard than I think he was last year? And all right, here we go. Let's look at it.
He's decent pass blocker at the very least. Just need him to be more of a mauler in the run game. So
let me see Booker and see what his run grade is and how old he is.
All right, we're getting down into the nitty gritty here. Okay, overall grade.
Run block grade is not that great.
Not that great. Passing grades a lot better.
A lot better.
He's purely a left guard, which you don't need because of Isaac Seumalo.
That's out. All right, I'm out.
So
forget it. Booker's gone. I'm not interested.
6'5", 3. Well, they say 330 on the side, 325. He's not 21
He's a young guy
yet.
But
so
I don't need a left guard.
Pretty
I need
massive
a right
guy.
guard.
Yes.
And if I don't think he can play, if he's never played right guard, then he's probably not the guy for us. Okay, let's go back to the draft.
Just got some flashbacks of Kevin Dotson. So just never had the opportunity to go play Yeah, never had the opportunity to go play on the other side, and look what he's done with the Rams. So I can tell you what I would do here.
You tell me
Because,
what you would do.
well, Donovan Jackson's not bad. The Steelers don't have the depth that you would like at tackle, like right now. Calvin Anderson, right? But you're taking a guy. This is pick 46. This is it's top 50. This is a guy whoever you take, you kind of want them to be able to get on the field, right?
Yep.
You've got a linebacker room right now, a Peyton Wilson who's playing with one ACL. He played exceptional. You've got Patrick Queen entering year 2. You got Cole Holcomb entering the final year of his deal. And just like last year with Wilson falling, or the year before with Benton falling right in her lap, I've got the UCLA guy right here, and I'm kind of intrigued by this. I'm kind of curious though, like let's see. I was just looking at some of the where he's like lining up, and I'm just kind of curious. So 6'2", 225. They're saying he's a little light, but that's we've heard that before with Ryan Shazier, right? Yep. So yeah, and his motor runs hot. These are all things you like to see. Pursuit speed adequate for the NFL. Vision to ball carrier top tier. His quickness combined with processing is where he shines. I mean, this is a guy you might be able to pair with Peyton Wilson for the foreseeable future. No age on him here. They don't have his age listed, but I could probably find it somewhere if I were to look it up. But I'm kind of looking there. I'll let you see the rest of the board here. I don't want to hijack your show. This is the insanity. Yep. This is your thing. Travion's here too. If you want,
I was gonna say you can stop right there.
Okay.
I will tell you that it's going to be a scarlet and gray player. The question is whether it's the tackle, whether it's the running back, or whether it's JT Tuimalu at edge as a additional edge guy coming off the bench, letting him grow for an additional year and whatnot. Here's the real problem with the Ohio State guys. They all stayed that extra year, right? They all committed to coming back. And so a lot of them are seniors. And some of them are even the extra year and are going to be older entering the draft. That is the real hesitation with any of them. But I think I'm going to draft Travion.
I mean, I'd be okay with that. And your thought process for an edge, everybody's going to say, oh, well, TJ had this picture where he's given the peace sign like on Instagram.
Maybe he's just really hoping that world peace breaks out.
Maybe he's looking for $2 million more a year. I don't know.
I don't know.
If TJ Watt were not made, and people are saying trade TJ Watt. Okay, let's talk about this real quick. What do you think what do you think that franchise looks like right now without a defined answer at quarterback if TJ Watt were not on this team? Do you realize what happens when TJ Watt does not play currently? Like they lose all the time. So here, trade him away. Let's get some draft picks. We don't even know if the guys were doing in this whole fake thing. We should go back and like revisit one from like 5 years ago and see if the team would
see if any of them were good.
Yeah. See if we obviously don't get to do anything, we don't carry over like a dynasty league in fantasy where we get to use the 2027 picks or whatever or 2026 picks following. But I'll oblige. I will, I'm with you on this because I think the risk of not having him there, and you're going to split him with Jalen Warren and Omarion Hampton. That's kind of interesting, but the rest grades are all there.
That's you want to be a running team.
Yeah.
All right. Now you got a stable of running backs that I think can make a big change.
Yep. Over 1,000 yards last season with the Buckeyes, and, another guy that, was in like even Heisman talks, over the previous season. So, okay, we're going to go with Henderson. I think we've belabored this long enough, and we're going the whole distance. We're going to be using pick 69, 83, 123, 156, 185. Gets a little easier after this when you end up taking...
It really does.
We could take a look and see who all fell off here. As you were correct, Booker's out of the picture here. So the Steelers were at... Come on, inch up here. They were at 46. Morrison gone. I bet both of the Notre Dame guys are gone for sure. Thomas, Florida State corners out of there. That was a visitor. Manuari goes to the Chargers here. So it's another visitor. Donovan Jackson, we were just talking about, out. Kyle Kennard, the edge, out of South Carolina to the Texans. Ooh, that's an interesting pick for the Texans. Jack Sawyer, Brian, Jack Sawyer, Ohio State guy, to the Ravens.
He'd be dead to me
Yeah.
now.
Oh, my goodness. Curious to see where he lines up on the field in the NFL, but definitely another guy with a high motor. Let's see. Booker's gone. Let's see. Wide receivers, Josiah Stewart, the edge out of Michigan. And then he almost made it to us. Schweisinger. So almost, but I'm kind of picturing if we would have waited, Henderson's probably gone in the same spot. Maybe even the Browns are right there. I mean, there's a couple dangerous teams there. The Giants, another one. So let's see. Hopefully I didn't click on it twice.
Flip the little picker to show me the quarterbacks.
No Shador Sanders.
We're in the third round. This is the earliest I'm going to consider it.
All right. We haven't really paid attention yet, but if I'm going by just scanning this, an Ole Miss quarterback might still be there. I don't remember seeing his name gone. I think just Ward and Sanders were gone. Ward went 7th to the Jets here, and Sanders
went in the second round.
Yeah, somewhere there. Yeah. Nope, it's Milrow. There's Dart. They got Dart ranked way lower. I forgot about that.
Yes, they do.
Under Riley Leonard, I don't know about that. That seems a little
weak. Jackson suspicious. Dart has had a visit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people are talking about him as a first-round grade. Nobody's talking about Will Howard as a first-round grade, and rightfully so. They shouldn't be. People are not talking about Jalen Milrow as a first-round draft either, and that there's a huge risk factor with him. Huge upside, but the risk is equivalent. We're in the third round now. If I can get the quarterback who's come visited me in the third round and see what we get, right? Worst case, right? I've got my backup for years. Best case, I've got 2 starting quarterbacks, and later on I can trade one of them when I draft again next year.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take this is where I would take a quarterback in the third round, and I'm going to take Jackson Dart.
Okay. Let's see. Jackson's here. You know, who doesn't get a lot of love? I know he's like 6 feet tall, maybe with lifts, is Dylan Gabriel out of Oregon.
Yeah, forget that.
But we're talking about this, and we could take more than one, and you're going to take Dart. I know you like Will Howard as kind of like a dark horse, though, and so do I.
If Dart was gone, I'd have taken Will Howard.
Okay,
and I'd have taken Will Howard simply because I think he's got he's got some developmental things. I don't think Will Howard's turning into a franchise quarterback. Don't get me wrong. Could be, he could, but I think he's a good developmental backup. That fits that role, kind of a Mason Rudolph-y kind of guy, kind of a Landry Jones kind of guy. He can make a career. I think he'll have a career in the NFL. And he'll probably bounce around for years and years and years because quarterbacks do that. But since we've had the visit with Jackson Dart and he's there and there's been enough noise and connection, I'm not in love with him. Being honest, I'm not in love with him. But I'm taking the shot here, and I probably would take that. If he was gone, I'd take Will Howard, but I'm going to take him.
Hey, he doesn't turn the ball over a whole lot. 29 touchdowns to 6 interceptions last year for over 4,200 yards. 23 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. The previous season, 2023, over 3,300 yards. He's just shy of 22 years of age, so he's nice and young. 6'2", 225, decent size. I like it. I'm going to bring up Milrow just for a second, too. I'm not the biggest fan of Milrow is passing. But I should have brought up the completion percentage for Dart, too. But look at it, 16 touchdowns, 11 interceptions for Milrow. I know he could use his feet. I don't feel the same way. 6'2", 225. He's in the same kind of category. I wish I could probably pull up some of Dart's rushing yards, too. Dart can also run the ball. So
Milrow is a guy that, he's intriguing, right? He's more athletic. He's got more of the chance to be Lamar Jackson, but he also has the same chance to be, RG3.
Yeah,
and flame out, or Anthony Richardson, or any of these other mobile quarterbacks who don't go anywhere, right? The fact that he had 11 interceptions to 16 touchdowns, that's not a great ratio, right? you want somebody who's going to protect the ball a little more. And it's a flyer, right? Who cares? It's a flyer. I'm taking Dart because he visited the team. I'd have taken Will Howard if he hadn't visited the team. So,
And what's interesting is if you go a little further down the board, I mean, they have Tyler Show all the way down here behind Quinn Ewers, Kyle McCord. I thought Ewers was maybe going to make a visit. I know they've showed a little bit of interest in him. So Riley Leonard, though, just that one just gets me. I'm kind of interested. And you go like the game by game grades. There's quite a few stinkers for Milroe, as opposed to when you come down to Dart and you bring up what they've graded. A little bit more of consistency
LSU,
there. The really, LSU game
not a great
stands
game against LSU, but other than that, not so bad.
Yeah, and you'll have some of that. Okay, Dart with pick 69. I think that's a decent one. More than likely, all those quarterbacks are still there on the board anyways. They'll probably get panned for that one, too, Brian. Quinshawn Judkins is gone, but you've already got Henderson. So, okay. And Jalen Noel, all right, who was another visitor. So, with 4 picks remaining.
Now, right?
Yep, 83.
All right, let's see what we got in the list here. We don't really need another wide receiver. I don't want another running back. I don't want another D lineman. So those guys are all out. Joshua Farmer did visit. I get it. Sometimes they say you can never have too many. If we drafted another defensive lineman, that would kind of probably signal the end of some guys like Loudermilk. He could end up being a cut, even though he just re-signed.
Yeah.
I don't really want it. I don't think I want another safety. I like Lathan Ransom. I might have gone in that direction. Let's go.
How about Roberts?
Yeah, I'm considering that as well.
Yeah, I mean he kind of fits. He fits the draft visitor profile with the Steelers, and so does Farmer there. But we've already loaded up on D-line. You had somebody like fall in your lap. So Ransom would be interesting. Ransom's an interesting name actually in reality. Like I kind of wonder where he's gonna end up.
Where he's gonna drop, yeah.
And I think the Steelers are in the market to still work on their secondary, but they did load up quite a bit on corner. That's something that we haven't really looked at, and I'm not sure that you're very deep once you get to this section of the draft. So let me pull this back up. Do you want to see? You know what? Just out of curiosity. What do we got? So
top corners, Dorian Strong. Okay, that's the guy. That's somebody who they think will be there at 104.
Yeah.
We're not going to draft again until 123, but
Kobe Bryant from Kansas, a little further down the list here, might be somebody. Yeah, it might be. These are guys. Zoff Frazier's way down here from Tulsa. That's another name that's bounced around in some of the circles. So. So let's get off the corner. I'll just go with some of the best available.
I probably would go Elijah Roberts. I think that is where I'm going to go. They always value depth at the edge position.
Mm-hmm.
He can play special teams, as most of these guys that we're drafting from this point down are going to have to do anyway. So I think that's where I go.
Yeah, and I think that's fair because even looking at the corners and some of the guys that are, all the visitors are guys that are already gone at this point. And I don't like to base everything on visitors, but you've got Farmer and Roberts were both players. Like they're looking at every round, especially at defensive line and at running back specifically. Like wide receiver, when you're looking at like Golden, I'm trying to remember the other guy from Iowa State. Those are the guys that you got to you pull the trigger on probably in the first round, especially when you don't have the draft capital that we're playing around with. So Elijah Roberts, come on down. You're the next contestant. And that one's, I think an ADP of 90. So I don't know that I'm going to go back through everybody that just
No, it's too many.
But you know what would be fun? You know what's fun? Who's still there? Riley Leonard.
Kyle McCord. Quinn Ewers. Yep.
Yeah, Tyler Show. All the quarterbacks are still there. The corners we were just looking at, since we didn't draft there, most of them are still here too. So, almost 150 picks later at least. So top names, Hyman Rucker, edge out of North Carolina. R.J. Mickens, safety. Clemson. Isaiah Bond, another wide receiver.
No, I can't.
Edge from UCLA. You got.
I think we'll go Noel Williams. It's probably what we'll do here.
Yeah.
Simply because he's the top corner that's left on the board.
No, he's gone. I think he's gone, isn't he? Let's see.
No, we just saw him.
Oh, there he is. Yeah. Sorry, lost him in there. So we're looking at somebody that can do exactly what? 6'1", 200, press coverage guy, man to man. That sounds like something that the Steelers would like. Somebody that kind of fits in their wheelhouse, so to speak. And he's also lined up. He's mostly a boundary corner, but he has lined up in the slot. If we just want to compare him to the next guy on the board, Kobe Bryant out of Kansas. Kobe's 6'1", 175, so he's not. That's a light guy. Yeah, he's not a huge specimen either. Very little experience in the slot, but primarily, again, a boundary kind of guy. Run defense, grade, not too bad. Man coverage starts to slip just maybe a little bit. Whoa. You know what's interesting? They had him listed 6'1", 175. Then over here in his bio, it says 5'10", 170. And they said just what you said, near lowest weight percentile for an NFL corner. So he's a competitor. Yeah. He gets some name recognition because of being named after the former Lakers great. But the better prospect here is the Golden Bear. So we're going to take Noel Williams, 123. And now we're going to drop into, are we out of round 4 into round 5?
Round, 156.
We're flying. Here's another Buckeye for you right at the top of the board. Quinn Ewers is here still, too. He's still hanging.
Yep.
Can always go tight end. I don't know. Like, that's just something that we haven't touched yet. Got a couple tight ends.
All right. Pull up the guard.
Okay, where are we at? Luke Kandra.
Yeah.
Out of Cincinnati.
Better run blocking grade than Booker had.
Yeah, which is interesting.
What's his size?
And he's right guard. He's right guard by trade.
I like that.
So that's somebody that,
there you go.
Could fit in for Mason McCormick.
I was going to draft a guard some point in the year. A 5th round guard seems like a reasonable choice, especially since I don't have a desperate need anymore at any point.
Yeah, redshirt senior, so 23 and a half years old. I mean, this would be a good guy to maybe plug in. You probably can't go any worse with him than you would have Mason McCormick before.
Right.
6'4", 323. Let's do it. Sounds good.
Right.
We got one more left. So while we're waiting for that to catch up, just a rundown of the picks so far. Luther Burden, a third wide receiver out of Missouri. Amarian Hampton, running back from North Carolina. TJ Sanders, I'm sorry. Interior defensive line, South Carolina. Jaden Higgins from Iowa State, wide receiver. Tyleek Williams, another defensive lineman, Ohio State. Kevin Winston Jr., safety at Penn State. Double dipped on the running backs, Travion Henderson, another Buckeye. Jackson Dart, your quarterback from Ole Miss. Elijah Roberts, an edge from SMU. And actually, Elijah Roberts fits into the defensive line, probably more in the defensive end category than an edge. Let me look at his size. Yeah, he's 6'4", 295. So he's more of the same kind of specimen size as you would have as a Cam, as maybe not even as much, maybe Keanu, but Keanu's in that category.
Yep.
But DeMarvin Leal before, who hadn't quite panned out with the Steelers. And then who am I missing? Loudermilk's in that category too.
Yep.
And then just to round out the picks, Noel Williams got a corner from Cal in the 4th round. I think we'd be happy with that, even in reality, if that was the 4th round pick. Luke Kandra, 5th round pick, guard from Cincinnati. And now your boy Kyle McCord's hanging around here still. So
that's exactly where I'm going to go. This is the last pick we have. And it's either Kyle McCord or Cody Simon, right? I like Cody Simon a lot, but I think he's a special teams player at the NFL level. I'm going to go with Kyle McCord simply because why not rebuild the quarterback room completely one more time, and you've got Jackson Dart and Kyle McCord both sitting behind Mason, and assuming that Aaron Rodgers never shows up.
Yeah, well, and you know what the interesting thing here is, Brian, is when you're looking at the Buckeyes, and you're looking at Cody Simon, this is somebody that would be a 3-4 inside linebacker. Oh, that's actually where they have him pegged. Hold on, let me bring this up.
Yep.
So, yeah, just even to compared to Jack Sawyer. So shorter arms when it comes to coverage. No age listed, but it's an interesting run defense, pass rush, coverage. Missed tackle rate is probably where he falls a little bit. His grades are different. Obviously, who was this? Western Michigan, maybe? Who was the first game last year? Was it Western Michigan? Yeah. So,
yeah.
I mean, and we're taking their grade. We're taking the grades that they give with a grain of salt. But we come back around to McCord, former Buckeye. Brian wants on there, and he had a good year with Syracuse with the Orange. So 4,760 yards, 34 touchdowns, 12 picks.
Played like crap against Pitt.
Yeah, he's throwing it around 65.8 completion percentage. Yeah, that's by far his worst game easily. So he bounced back, had a tremendous game the game before that. So you like to see that. Boston College, Cal, Washington. So they're, I'm sorry, not Washington. But then Miami's there too. So yeah, I think McCord is the pick. I think that's without extending this insanity any further.
Because that's it. We're out.
Throw this in here. The rest of the draft, analyzing, grading. It says stay in your seat. Let's see where we are. Oh, this is going to be a fun one. All right. My Steelers mock draft from Pro Football Focus. You start, these are all the trades.
Crazy trades.
All the crazy trades. So, and here we go.
They hate us.
They hate all of it. C+ for Burden, C+ for Hampton, C+ for Sanders, C+ for Higgins. You know why they grade it this way? Is because they didn't take they said quarterback's a need, tackle's a need. So if you would have just took a tackle that's going to sit behind Broderick Jones and Troy Fathanu they'd
have been happy.
They would have been over the moon with this at pick 15, maybe even. And it's really a wasted pick. Burden, after we traded George Pickens in this mock draft, there's a need for Burden and Higgins here. There's a chance that both of these guys even play over Calvin Austin. They're going to be alongside DK Metcalf. So it's like you're giving C+ for this, but, you know, Omarion Hampton's a guy that's going to play too.
Look, this is how you put credence to what they grade you. They let all this happen. How much faith do you have in any of this? Go all the way to the top, because they'll have their little AI tell us what we should have done. So they wanted us to draft Josh Simmons instead of Omarion Hampton, right? This is a higher positional pick. Who cares? We don't need another tackle.
I'm with you 100% of the way. Let's see what the rest of this yields before we put a bow on the show. They actually like Tyleik Williams, which we weren't sold on taking Tyleik. B-. It's a little bit better. They don't like any of these. Jackson Dart, a D+ at 69.
A D+ at taking a guy that everybody thinks we're going to take in the first round. Taking him in the third round is a D+.
And I mean, from 69 to 83, he might end up there in our own, but he's not going he's not going to be from 69 to 123. Yeah. I don't think, maybe in their own simulation. But we've run this through other places before. What Pro Football Network had one, and NFL has one. Everybody has these mock draft simulators, and more than likely you'll see Jackson Dart's name all over the place, depending on the simulator that you end up running. So let's see what do we got here for the final ones. Elijah Roberts. And what's funny is that they have him like an ADP of 90 here, and it's still a C+. But then you get a guy that drops from 118 to 123, and all of a sudden it's a B- because maybe they feel it's a position E. Kyle McCord.
Oh, there you go. Kyle McCord gets an A.
And I don't know if you can see this, but it says bottom 16% of Steelers drafts with a C+. Shame on you, Mr. Coster.
I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
They didn't like it, but I don't care.
You need to take another tip from a Kevin Costner show, and you need to take the people from Pro Football Focus over to the train station. That's what you need to do, Brian.
Take them to the
Yellowstone,
train
the Dutton
Yes.
Ranch. So fun times. The insanity is always insane. My friend, you got any closing thoughts on this? We have an NFL draft 2 weeks away.
As it says, it's always in fun. Look, there's absolutely no realistic value to what we just did. As I oftentimes say, there is no realistic value to 90% of what mock drafts are, if not a higher percentage than that. My take has been what it is. I think it's a wide receiver, a running back, or a defensive lineman in the first round. And I will say the same thing. If they draft a quarterback in the first round, I think it's a waste, and I don't care who the quarterback is at this point. I think that there isn't anybody that I positionally think is a valuable enough pick to take at 21.
I wonder who the defense, like if the Oregon defensive lineman, if Harmon's there.
Oh, I probably would snap him up.
I'll
tell you, I like Harmon. I don't know how well he fits with the Steelers.
That's true too.
I like Walter Nolan a lot, and I might draft Walter Nolan there. He went much higher than I thought he was going to go in this particular simulation. But I think, look, there's a good chance if the right running back is there, you go running back. If he's not, and the right wide receiver, it's really going to matter of those three positions, which one is the most valuable to them of the person who is there at the time.
And then they'll swing back around and grab the other one, and you just don't know what Omar Khan's got up his sleeve with that second round pick being gone.
Yep.
Still don't know who the quarterback might be. Interesting times, my friend, but thanks for joining me once again. We're going to have at least 1 or 2 draft shows before the draft, and then we'll be covering the draft on the actual draft days following right after, possibly live. So, Brian, thanks once again for joining me, my friend. It's always a good time with the mock draft insanity. We got some other shenanigans up our sleeves where we like to mock mocks and everything else, so stay tuned. In the coming 2 weeks, folks, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, my name's Joe. His name is Brian. We always close out the show by encouraging our viewers and listeners out there to be safe, be good, and we'll catch you later.
We would like to thank you for listening and remind our listeners to follow us on social media and our website, www.steelcityunderground.com.